we've seen a good run the last couple of weeks in mortgage rates, especially capped off last Friday with the jobs report. The economy created far fewer jobs than was expected, so mortgage rates dropped considerably Friday, and the run has continued through today. So I posted really kind of where rates are at today on the webpage for all of you guys. The one big thing, there's a lot of talk about the Fed and everybody begging the Fed to drop interest rates. And, I'll throw that out there with a word of caution, because the last time the Fed cut last year, we saw mortgage rates increase slightly. It's all going to depend upon, if the Fed cuts, what the inflation picture looks like. We saw a tick in inflation upward last month. If that's still a relatively high number and the Fed cuts, we could actually see mortgage rates either not drop or actually increase slightly after that. So the Fed cut isn't necessarily something that everybody should be banking on to lower mortgage rates. Real quick, if I haven't talked to you, or if you have not heard about Planet Home Lending's buy now, sell later, getting your clients to purchase a new home non-contingent, even if their current home is not listed for sale, that is something that we can provide to you. And it is the most cost-effective and sometimes no cost option and program in the market for a buyer to go non-contingent.
Great. Thank you, Brian, very much.
Brian, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you have a buy down type program. Is that, I'm familiar with Easy Knock. Is that like another type of derivative product of that, or like different, or?
What was that? Knock?
Easy Knock?
Easy Knock or Knock. So that program works similarly, but it has a much higher cost.
Okay, thank you.
And it's a third party, whereas ours is all done in-house.
Okay. I'll try to get your contact information.
Excellent. It's on the webpage.
Good.
Sorry,
Thank you. Good morning, Nate and Garrett Butcher, live in the Winner Circle.
Good morning.
All right. So Michael and Elgin, I'm just going to put it out right here. Do you mind next week giving me some highlights? Build LA, if you don't mind, because I want to get to our guest speaker, Gary, because he's got wonderful information. Who did I miss? Lucia, good morning. Good morning. Who else did I miss?
Good morning.
I know they're coming on. There's another Sid, spells it different. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Wow. Yes, sir. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Let's turn to our guest speaker, because he's got a lot to share. Man, this thing is just taken off. And I wanted to introduce to you Gary Meek. He's become a business partner of mine and kind of a mentor, I got to tell you. And Gary, can you just kind of introduce yourself, a little 3-minute bio, and then we'll get into what you're doing to just, man, you are just exploding. So everybody, Gary Meek.
Thank you, Frank. Nice to see everybody here. Appreciate you guys. So been in real estate for almost 23 years, broker for 20 of those, ran a boutique brokerage with Steve Hillier for about 10 years called New Vision Realty Group. Been over with EXP just over 3 years. I've always found myself in niches. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. But I got into the industry, did mortgages for a couple of years, transitioned over to real estate, working with Steve, got into short sales, sold about 250 REOs for Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America. Then I worked for Invitation Homes, if you guys know that name. Did about 100 and something purchases for them within a year. And then I've done lease options. I've done some foreclosure stuff. Right now I'm working on assumable loans and subject to, which I'm sure Frank and I are going to chat about today. So quick little overview of me. My wife and I have 4 children together. We have 4 grandchildren. And we have our youngest daughter is active duty Navy.
Wow. All right. So let's get right to it. Tell me about the program that you're having amazing success with so we can share it. Remember, this is being recorded.
Yep.
So not only do we finish here, but it goes out into the social world, and you can put it definitely in your YouTube channels and everywhere else. So Gary, I'm turning it over to you.
Cool. So like I said, I'm always in niches. That's kind of my thing. I always do a bunch of research, and I always find these little pockets of areas that need assistance and just kind of dial in. And I usually become the expert in that. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So about 2 years ago, when the rates jacked up to 6, 7, 8%, I started looking into what can we do to find people that have rates that lower rates? How can we figure out a way to get people into lower rates? And so I found assumable loans. If you guys don't know, all FHA, VA, and USDA have assumable loans. So I do a ton of video on this. I call it like my back to the future. I just closed on a house that has a 2.99 rate. So my seller was selling his house, had an FHA loan at 2.99. Buyer was able to come in and assume that loan at 2.99. So that is what I really focus on. Alongside that, if you guys made it to Cabo, you guys got to see a guy named Pace Morby. Been following Pace Morby for about 2 years also. Pace is the subject to king. And it ultimately is very similar to Assumable because you're taking over the loan. In an Assumable, your buyer is actually assuming the loan, as in full underwriting proved with the servicer, and becomes the owner of the loan and their name is on the loan. Where subject to is a little different. The previous owner, the loan stays in their name. You put it over the property into an LLC, so you do take full legal title, just like the one Frank and I are working on, and the loan stays in their name. The great thing about this is, like for Frank's folks, they were a little bit behind. We're going to then catch up their loan, and we're going to make those payments for them over the next year, 2 years, however long we decide to hold the property. But the great thing for them is they then get the benefit of their credit being repaired. So that's kind of the niche in those two things as they go side by side. Do you have anything specific you have questions on, Frank? Because I have a couple of examples I can share with you guys.
Yeah, just well, you'll probably go over it, but
Yeah.
for the folks listening, what are some of the downsides? Let's go there first before we go to the positive.
Yeah, so awesome. So when I presented this offer to Frank's clients, I said, ultimately, here's the deal. This property is transferring to me. My company, my LLC, is going to actually own equitable title in the property, but the loan's going to remain in your name. It's possible that my company could be like, hey, something happened, we went bankrupt, whatever, and we stop making the payments, and they ultimately then get their credit affected. Now, we're putting almost 60,000 down to bring this property current, and the other thing is we're paying all the commissions, everything on our side, we're paying all the repairs, we're buying it as is. So if we're going to put $60,000 into a property, get it cleaned up, get it all fixed up, get it ready for rent, the chances of us walking away from that $60,000 investment probably slim and none. So that's one of the downsides, is it's in their name and it's up to me to bring that current and to keep it going. Now, they do have access to their original servicer because it's all in their name still. So they can verify that I'm making the payments on a consistent basis. But ultimately, if we stop making the payments in 6 months or 6 years, they could ultimately foreclose on it and take the property back.
What about the risk of the lender calling the note due immediately?
Awesome. Yeah. So great question, Matt. Appreciate that. So we have done 5 subject twos in the last 12 months or so. I haven't had any of mine called, and I flipped 2 of them. One I'm actually selling to a third party. And if you talk to or follow Pace Morby at all, he owns 1,800 properties subject to. They've had about 10 called out of those 1,800. So it shows you what the risk ratio is there. Cool.
Okay, Gary, show us your slides.
No slides, buddy. I'm not a techie person. I'm not.
I love it.
I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, and I'm going to show you guys where this really makes sense. And it's going to really make sense specifically in today's market as the market is shifting. So if you guys pay attention to what's going on, I'm guessing people are all over California, or you guys all over other states as well, or is it?
Yes, all over other states as well.
So I'm in Sacramento, Roseville, Northern California. I keep my finger on the pulse, and what I have been watching is I'm starting to see a lot of short sales come into the market. So there are 51 short sales between Sac, Placer, El Dorado County right now. I think that might include Yolo also. There's 51. I look at all of those properties and I call those agents and say, hey, listen, you're upside down by 50 grand, but you got a 3% rate. You're actually better off to sell that property or subject to, rather than getting your clients go through a short sale, have a massive tax hit, and not be able to buy for 4 years. Where if I take this over now, I'm going to pay it current. We're going to make payments for the next year, 2 years, whatever it is. Like I said, as long as we hold the property, and some we hold longer, where that rebuilds their credit, where they can buy again in the future. And I'm going to give you guys an example. So I sold a house in Vallejo. It was a duplex. The lady bought it 4 years ago. The rate on it was 2.625. My client was interested in buying a house. She was looking at single family originally, and I just happened to find this house, little 1-1 on each side. She's a single lady. And she was like, oh, me and my best friend are gonna move in together. And I thought, well, what if I got you guys a duplex and you each lived on one side? And she said, okay, well, let's go look at this house. So the house is listed, like I said, in Vallejo, $489,000. I talked to the listing agent at length. My client, first house, so she's assuming the loan. This is not a subject to. And she said, Gary, but you showed me the comps and the comp show it's worth 425. And I said, you're right. It is probably worth 425. That's probably accurate. But you're going to then get a 6.75% interest rate, and your payment was going to be $3,600. And she was like, yeah, but my friend's going to pay a portion of that. And I'm going to pay the other portion. It's going to work out great for us. I said, you're right. It is actually going to work out great for you. But let me show you the numbers here. And like I said, I'm not a tech person, not slides. So you have to go with my numbers here. We got for 489. She put $35,000 down, took money out of her 401k, put that money down, paid for closing costs, everything. And this lady wasn't late on her payments by any means, but with her payment, 2.625 at the 489, her payments are $2,900. It is a $700 a month savings. My client put $35,000 down, and her friend that's going to live next door to her is paying $1,700. So my client has a $1,200 a month payment to live in Northern California and own a home. I'll let that sink in a little bit. So that is the reason I believe that assumptions and subject to are really key in today's market. I'll give you guys another example. We have a veteran who's losing her house. It's in Natomas. They listed it as a short sale at $589. She has a 4.6 rate. They were going to take a short sale. She was behind 3 months already. She's about 5 months now because we're getting ready to close in about 10 days. She was going to take $100,000 to $140,000 hit as a tax benefit, or as a tax hit, and she was going to lose a huge portion of her VA benefit. I have an investor who's purchasing that property. My investor's getting in for 10% down, and he's assuming a 4.6% rate. His payment's about $4,300. If he was going to do a DSCR loan and put down 25%, his payment would have been $4,700, and he'd be out of pocket. I want to say it was like 140. So he is going to come in with half the amount down, and his payment's $500 less. You guys all kind of see how that works. A VA loan can be assumed by a veteran that has a veteran status, and they can switch their certificate. If a veteran's willing to leave behind the certificate, and that means they cannot use it, or they lose a portion of it is still attached to that house, I can have a non-veteran assume it to live in it. I can also have a non-veteran assume it to keep it as a rental property. So there's some amazing opportunities here. So this house, you think, well, $4,300, that's a pretty big payment. And you're right, that property, it's a 2,700 square feet. It only rents at about $3,500, but we're actually turning that into a co-living. It's going to actually be 9 bedrooms and 3 baths, and it's going to net $10,000. It's going to gross $10,000 a month in income. So there is some opportunities around all of this that you guys need to realize, look at, and understand. And it's something, like I said, I have done a ton of research. I have scraped the data. I have looked at everything. I call and talk to agents. I fully grasp all this that's going on. I'm going to give you guys another example. I have a gentleman that I'm working with currently. In December of 23, had his house listed as a short sale in Citrus Heights, 2.875 rate. His house was upside down by about $40,000, and it was kind of a mess. Went through a nasty divorce. He had to go out of state to help deal with some family stuff, and the house was left vacant. I found the house, went and called the listing agent and said, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to do a subject to. I'm going to take over. I'm going to bring this guy current. I'll pay your commission, and I'm going to remodel this house. We actually thought about moving into it, but we ended up remodeling the house, all of my money. We're able to bring the loan current, flipped the house, made a small profit, nothing big, 20 grand, 25 grand, returned that veteran's benefit all the way back to him. And remember, I was the buyer side. I was not representing the seller. I didn't have the relationship with the listing agent or with the seller. Through the listing agent did. Because I was what I was doing, I had some documents that came over that were the seller's information after close. I got his email address, found his phone number. He was living in New Mexico, sent him some documents, said, hey, if you ever come back, here's the thing, here's what we did. And he was so thankful. He actually moved back to Sacramento in February of this year because we brought his loan current and made payments on it. And he's done a few other things. He is now pre-approved on a CalVet loan. And I wrote an offer for him this weekend to buy a brand new house.
Man. So Gary, of course, this is just being explained to our group right here.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask you to brag on yourself a little bit.
Okay.
So tell me, in the last maybe 3 years, 2 years, how many you have in escrow and how many closings have you had?
Great question, but I appreciate that. So when we moved our brokerage over to EXP, we focused a lot on the brokerage and moving the transition over. We had 218 agents. We got 135 that came with us to EXP. So we had a pretty big, swath of people that took a transition, and we thought, hey, the market's great. Everything's going to be fine. As the market shifted, we realized like, hey, this is going to be a little bit more different. So I actually went back into production in September. I mean, we've always done a couple of deals here and there, but in September of last year, so 2024, I joined FastCap. If you guys have not heard of FastCap, I recommend you guys go into it. It's an EXP 6 or 8 week training, and you get the chance to go through it, no cost. They use a system called CSU. I'll get to that in a second. So I went through that process to try and get back into production again. Started building my database. Our team uses Bold Trail, and we obviously now CRM of choice. We teach a lot on Bold Trail. So started putting everybody into my CRM. I started building relationships and just started funneling people in, just started packing people in there. I have over 100 people that I am in constant communication with. From September of 24, I closed 2 deals, both on 1/12/30 and 1/12/31. I had people that I had been in touch with 8, 10, 12 months, like this gentleman I was just mentioning that I wrote an offer for this weekend. I'd built long-term relationship. So as I've been building that, we've used CSU, like I said, to track everything. I currently have 30 buyers, all looking at assumptions and subject to, because that's my niche and that's how I pitch to get people engaged with me. I currently have 8 deals in escrow because I closed 2 last week. I wrote 2 offers for 2 different buyers this weekend, and I have a listing that has a counter out that they're probably going to accept today. So I should be back to 11 escrows by tomorrow. And we have, it's either 9 or 11 closes already this year. So like I said, last year, 6 deals maybe, because I've been running the team, coaching and doing things. I will hit roughly 40 deals this year, as well as running the team.
That's what I wanted to say to everybody, that I just didn't want you to think we brought him on as a theory or as an idea, that actually putting his cards on the table and letting you know he's the real deal. That's why I had to share this. Any questions for Gary?
Yes,
Sid?
sir.
Hey, I just want to say, as a listing agent, we did one of those deals where, one of your guys is probably that was trained in that, and we closed the deal for my client that was that dynamic.
Nice. I love it.
And it was a solution for my seller who just wanted the passive income. And it was a perfect solution for them.
Good. Good to hear it.
Wow. Now I know Brent really promotes this gentleman Pace, who Gary's been following, that kind of led the charge on this thing. So he's got some good referrals. Anybody else have another question?
I haven't done one in a while, but years ago I did quite a few subject twos as well, depending
Nice.
upon what the market conditions are. The market conditions were different back then, but they do work. They do work effectively, and then they're fast. So I never used it as a niche. It just kind of came. So I learned and did did my share. But it's been a while since I've done one. I'm assuming too, Gary, you're using escrow and title and everything when you do your subject twos, or are you doing them outside?
No, absolutely. Everything is escrow and title. We take what's called a land contract.
Right.
Is the actual term used in California. We have a company named Abby Escrow here in Folsom. Lori Hodgkins, I've known her for 20 years, and she does all of my subject twos for California. I actually own a subject two in Texas, also in a little town called Markham, just 45 minutes south of Austin. We got that one at 2.25%. My payment is like $880 a month, and it rents for $1,300.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
Michael, you got any questions?
I'm just soaking it in and processing this, putting it all in together. So,
Is this the first time you've kind of heard of this program?
for the subject too, yes, for me. But Assumable, I've heard a lot and done it, but this Pace More being the subject too is pretty new to me. So this is exciting. I just want to wrap my engineering brain around it all and get it down.
Okay.
So,
All right, good.
Well, if I can share, I want to share a couple things, Frank, if I could.
Yeah.
So my business partner and I ran a boutique brokerage, 200, like I said, 218 agents. So we were at the top of the food chain. Everybody really came to us and said, hey, I have this question. I have this issue. I need this fixed. And it was always up to Steve and I to come up with the solutions. Since we have come to EXP, I have had more opportunity to engage with and see people that are higher than me, as well as my peers that we can bounce ideas off of. So a couple things that I would say is make sure you guys are using your CRM. Bold Trail is the one we use. There's a Friday training at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's on zoomwithalexdyer.com. It is something that we offer free from our team to anybody in EXP that wants it. And it's held here live in our Roseville office and Brent Gove's office, but he also does it live on Zoom. So 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you guys want information on that. If you guys get an opportunity, go into EXP, go and check out Fast Cap. Like I said, 6 to 8 week program. They're doing one right now. They did just a Spanish speaking one. They're getting ready to do one in the evening time for people that are working day jobs.
That's me.
And Matt, you have a question?
No, I'm saying I'm actually signed up for that.
Oh, good job. Yeah, so it's a great opportunity for you guys to get a jump start. And that was the jump start for me to get back into massive production. Like I said, I'm about 10 months in now. And so to be 10 months in and have, I think we're about 13 or 14 closes, 8 in escrow. And like I said, I'm going to be on task to do 40 this year. I would recommend you guys check out Sisu, SISU.co. You guys have heard the name Spring Benson. She spoke at the Cabo event. Her husband, Brian, I think it's Charlesworth, started Sisu about 7 years ago. It is a system to track every single thing you do. It allows you to put your goals in. It'll tell you, are you listing heavy? Are you buyer heavy? What's your production? And then it will then tell you based on your conversion ratio from appointments, from phone calls to appointments set to appointments met to in escrow to closed. It will show you what your production numbers are, and it will start to calculate your numbers that you need to close. Sisu is used in FastCap. I also run a thing called a 12-week challenge. Our new one will come up in September. Guys will be invited. I'll get it to Frank so that you guys can come check that out. But Sisu is what we use to track everything. It allows me to look at 66,000 agents across the US utilize it. And we at EXP get a free version of it. We don't get the whole gamut. You can get the extra stuff. But the free version, in my opinion, that's what I use for our team, is amazing, truly amazing. So I would check that out. And a couple of people I would recommend if you guys haven't heard of, like Matt Smith. He spoke here in Roseville in January, runs the Matt Smith real estate team in Missouri. They use Sisu. He's got a great podcast. Kyle Whistle out of San Diego, somebody that I was one of the first EXP agents I met. Check him out. He's got great information. He shares a ton of information with people. Another guy is Mike Sherrard, based out of Canada. He's a big YouTuber, but he brings in all these different agents to come and share information. I would be watching those people, following those people, and just gleaning information from them. I definitely would tell you guys to watch Pace Morby for sure, without a doubt. He has tons of information, tons of great stuff going on out there. The other thing I would tell you guys is go to events. If you're not going to EXPCon, if you're not going to Cabo, if you're not going to Build, those are opportunities for you guys to hear people like Matt Plummer. If you guys don't know who Matt Plummer is, he is my personal financial coach. I believe he coaches with Frank as well. Somebody I met through an event. My wife and I hung out with him in Seattle, went to the Space Needle with them and built a relationship. And now he's my financial coach and somebody I like to play golf with. So just get an opportunity to be around people that think a little differently and pull and glean those nuggets and bring that information into who you are and what you want to be as an agent. It will help to exponentially help you guys grow. So the last thing is we have a database or a website, that we utilize for our mega team. So we're a mega team. Like I said, we're down to about 73 of those original agents. Our organization is about 220, but we have 73 of those team, and they all have opportunity to go to our site. And I'm going to share it with you guys today. It's New Vision, NEWVISION, EXP.com.
Chris, can you put that in the chat?
Yep. So that is our personal team website. If you go in there, we have agent attraction in there. We've got our schedule, our calendar, a bunch of other things that we do. It's got access to our YouTube channel. But in there, under resources, you'll see team resources and you'll see EXP resources. The EXP resources tab is a portal to every single thing you need that is EXP. And we have some VAs that work on that. So it's always being updated as they change things like CRMs and such. But under the New Vision team aspect, there's two things I want you guys to go and grab. The first thing is what we call our 30, 60, 90. It's for brand new agents. It's for agents that are trying to get back in the game, someone that just needs a little something to kind of get them going. Everything is on a Google Sheet. I love Google. It's where we store everything. But 30, 60, 90 is your first 30 days as an agent, and everything is hyperlinked. How to get your update, your Facebook page. We give you some books to read. 60 days is get a coach, get someone to script practice with. Go out and do open houses. Some of it is just activity, but it's a great framework for any agent, whether you're using it for recruiting or using it for yourself. That's the one thing I would recommend. Go check that out. And then just below that, so you scroll through the page, it's in the middle section, and I think it's like getting started as an agent. There's also another tab that you will see, and it's a $sign. It's in black and white, and click on that. And that is 15 lead resources that are pay at close. You'll see stuff from Zillow Flex on there, Clever Real Estate, Homelight, Agent Pronto, Rocket. There's 15 on there. And I will tell you that from my team alone, we close over 100 transactions from those 15 lead sites. Do not pay up front. Pay as you go until you're a baller like Frank, and then you can pay a little bit up front. But right now, if you guys are just getting started, people want like I got to get some leads coming in, go sign up for every single one of those. I would tell you guys, get your picture, get an updated picture, get an updated bio, get all that stuff ready, and just go in and spend a day. And that's what I tell all of my agents to do as well. So those are my free gifts for you guys today.
Gary, can you put your phone number in the chat?
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
All right. There's my phone number and my email.
Can you also put your website that you mentioned?
Yep.
Where's a good place to get training on the subject to thing, because I'm hearing about Portland, Oregon Metro, to kind of position yourself to, are there masterminds or programs that you recommend, or is that one you're doing, or just kind of understand that dynamic?
So because of my experience, I don't go and pay for anything. Pace's group, it's $8,000 to buy into his sub-2 program. I have not purchased his program. I'm a huge fan of going and getting as much free content as I can first. I love free, especially in today's market. We're closing less deals. Prices are a little lower. They're harder to get, so get it for free. So the Get Creative with Pace Morby on Facebook. I go through there on a consistent basis. I'm in there almost every single day. And then you can actually look for your specific area. So look for Oregon, Eugene, wherever you're at. And then just say, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Put in that search word, and it will pull up people in those areas. And then Pace is a big fan of what he calls squad up, which is find other people in your community that are doing similar things. And so I would find people that are in your Oregon, in your area. Go to have coffee with them, go talk to them about what they're doing. A lot of people in that organization are not real estate agents, and they actually talk crap about real estate agents occasionally. And then they find the good ones and they call them unicorns. So I would consider myself a unicorn agent, but I call agents on MLS. I'm like, hey, you guys are 100 days on market. I see your clients in default. I have a solution for you. Are you willing to listen to me? Some people tell me no. F off, whatever. I don't care. I've been doing this long enough. I got thick skin. Or I go to someone like Frank and I go, hey, Frank, I watched your deal. Like, hey, I think I got a solution for your guys. Let me pitch this to your people directly. And we did, and it worked for them. And I tell everybody, I'm not the solution for everyone. I have a good solution. It does not work for everyone. It may be the right solution for you. And if it's not, I'm not going to be offended.
Thank you.
Yep. Same thing for assumables. If you guys are out there looking for assumables, there are tons of VA assumable groups. My father's a veteran. Like I said, my daughter's active duty. I personally did not serve, but I want to do anything and everything I can to help our veterans. So I go out to Facebook and find every veteran group I can. and I say, hey, who's PCSing, permanent change of station here to Beale Air Force Base or Travis Air Force Base, and how can I help you guys here? And a lot of times I can get you into 2.5 rate here locally. I have a lady that's active duty Air Force in Vacaville. I got her to engage with me based on assumables, but she found a house that she absolutely loved, and we ended up using the Calvet loan. So she's getting a 5.75 instead of a 2 or 3, but she loves the house and it didn't have an assumable. The guy owned it free and clear, so she just wrote on that one, and we're closing next week. Actually, we're closing this week.
Excuse me, Gary.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Pace Morby for the last several weeks in preparation for launching my career, and I wanted to know, what are your pros and cons of the subject to versus the assumable? And your assumable, it sounds like you're focused on the VA. Is there other angles to assumable? And when would you choose assumable over a subject to scenario?
Perfect. Fantastic question.
Thank
So, assumable is going to be a 60 to 75 day process. That is actually the biggest downfall with assumables. I've closed, I want to say 4 or 5, and I'm always running in that 60 to 70 day range. I have one that closed at 35 days. I currently have a VA in escrow to actually take over an FHA loan because the assumable that the house they wanted was FHA, and they don't care. They already have their VA associated with a different property. So it is a longer process. There is a company out there called Assumption Solutions. So assumptionsolutions.com. They are based out of Colorado. And for $1,900, they will do the entire assumption process. It's $100 up front for them to do the credit check and all the things. And once they say, yes, you're going to be approved, they then push through the entire process. They work with the seller and the servicer, the buyer and the servicer, the escrow company, and all parties involved. They take care of everything. So we as agents can go out and get the next deal. So they're going to take care of the behind the scenes. It's kind of like the old short sale days. They do that process inside. I always have my buyer pay for that 100%. I never ask the seller to pay for it. The seller's given up a 2.5 rate. Tell the buyer, you're going to save $600 or $800 a month. In a year, you're going to be at $9,600. You're going to pay for that time, over and over again. Also with assumables, you still have to build your impound account because the old impound account's going off with that person. So, but there's no appraisal. If there's a big cash gap, so they're buying a $500,000 house and it's a $400,000 loan, they don't have $100,000, they can get a second loan up to 90%, so they can get $50,000 a second. Success Lending, Pitt Miller's our guy locally. But if your people don't have that gap, 90% is the max you can get to right now. So people always need to have 10%. So that's another con to some degree is people are like, well, I don't have 10%. I'm trying to get into FHA at 3.5%. But you'll find is as the market shifts, which it has been doing, at least locally, I'm finding people that are like, we're $12,000 or $15,000, gap. Well, most people have 12 to 15 grand. So that's the other piece. Subject to, you're going to have agents that have heard bad things about it. People are concerned about the due on sale clause. There's those pieces that, you're going to get, somebody saw bad information. So you have to be able to educate the listing agent, and you have to be able to educate him well enough that he educates the seller, or you have to ask the listing agent, can I please present my offer directly to your seller with you there so that you can hear it as well?
Anybody else before we close?
And Frank, if you get me an email list of everybody here, I will shoot you guys out. I do in my 12-week challenge. I'll get you guys invited to the next 12-week challenge. We do power hour calls. I do coaching and training, but I actually have a niche specifically around assumables that has 7 videos on YouTube. It has my background on information, and I'll get that out to you guys as well. Frank, gives me the details.
Yeah. Chris, you on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Gary, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go because you're a busy man.
Appreciate you guys. Come and share. Take care.
All right. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining.